You're listening to the Greeks Gridiron, live with Ethan Haristodoulou.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to more of the Greeks Gridiron. I am Ethan Haristodoulou, and today, on May 13th, 2022, we are doing a quick little reaction video to the NFL schedule release that just happened last night. All 32 teams' full schedules are now out in the wild, and everyone is diving in and taking a look at all the games and talking about big potential matchups and some of their favorite games to watch. And, is their favorite team playing a good schedule, a bad schedule, a difficult schedule, an easy one, all the conversation. Today, I am sitting here with you guys to talk my personal favorite matchups just on paper based off of what we're looking at and what we think of teams right now going into the 2022 season. So comment down below. Let me know what are some of your favorite games coming up for this 2022 season. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive in. So for best matchups, we'll start from week one and kind of work our way through. I have a handful listed off here, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about them, but I will give kind of an explanation as to why I am looking forward to it. In week number one, the season opener, we are getting ourselves the Bills and the Rams one-on-one to kick off the season, Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime Video. I am excited about this one here. You got Josh Allen going up against Matthew Stafford. Von Miller, who used to be on the Rams, is going to be ready to roll and help that Bills defense be able to slow down the Rams offense. You're looking at a new and newly recruited Bobby Wagner, who is over there on the Rams defense now to kind of be like the replacement per se of losing the star power of Von Miller. This has all the makings of an instant season opening classic, and I expect it to be one in every extent of the way. I am so excited this is probably one of the most exciting season openers for me personally in quite some time. I love Josh Allen. I love Matthew Stafford. They're two of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL right now. They both have really good defenses, really good offenses, and hopefully the Bills, and we've talked about this last offseason, I'll say it again here, hopefully the Bills can find a way to start establishing a more consistent run game, because if they can do that, this is like a Super Bowl preview in week number one. I mean, it has all the makings of it. You have one of the best teams in the AFC and the Super Bowl champions one-on-one. Should be a good one. Going into week number two, this is a matchup you don't see too often because both teams have kind of resided in different places. It feels like where like the Cowboys would have bad seasons, the Bengals would have good seasons, and when the Bengals would have bad seasons, the Cowboys were having good seasons. So they never really matched up too often. But as division winners in the NFC East playing the AFC North, you get yourselves the Bengals at Cowboys in week number two, and I'm excited to see Dak Prescott go up against Joe Burrow. You have obviously a litany of skill talent over there in Cincinnati, a rebuilt offensive line going up against the largest fan base in the NFL in the Dallas Cowboys and that AT&T Stadium there. It'll be an interesting matchup for sure. I mean, Cowboys games, whether you think they live up to the hype or not, I mean, there's a reason they get a ton of primetime games. That always feels bigger in Texas. And I mean, the way with that stadium and these two teams, this is going to be a fun matchup. Not one you see too often, and it should be a good one. Going into week number three, we get ourselves a 2020 NFC Championship rematch. The Packers are going to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers as Aaron Rodgers looks to strike his revenge against Tom Brady and that Buccaneers team that looks a little bit different, not quite as stacked up as they were the last time these two teams met in that championship game, but this will be a fun one to watch. You get Rodgers versus Brady after Brady, retired for 6 weeks and then came back. Should be an interesting one to watch, and also at this point, we'll be 3 weeks into the season. We'll kind of have a rough idea as to how that Packers wide receiver group is looking, and it should be an interesting one to watch without a doubt. Going into week number four, and I mean, it's literally lined up exactly how it did the first time it happened. Chiefs are traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers in a literal Super Bowl 55 matchup to the location. I mean, it's everything wrapped up in one all over again. Should be an exciting one. I feel like Brady and Mahomes is one of the better stories that we get year in and year out whenever they get to play each other. They already have a fairly solid rivalry where Brady has kind of squeaked out wins here and there over the Chiefs in some interesting fashions, but he is the leader in that rivalry at this point here. I think the Buccaneers have done an excellent job with Brady in the last few years on that team. And, the fact that these two guys are in opposite conferences now and they're still meeting up, clashing is really fun to see. And this is another one of those potential Super Bowl previews. It was literally already a Super Bowl game. So obviously we'll see what the Chiefs offense looks like with Tyreek Hill at this point. We'll have a good idea. We'll see how the Buccaneers and their kind of reloaded team with Brady being back now is faring as well at this point. Should be a fun one, without a doubt. Going into week number 6, AFC divisional rematch here. We got the Bills going to Kansas City to face off here. Can Josh Allen and the Bills, who have a team that is supposed to be built to beat the Chiefs, finally take down the Chiefs and stomp them on their neck and be able to take down who I would call like big brother to them? I find it fun that the Bills have built a team to beat the Chiefs per se, but yet they still kind of struggle to get it done consistently. But here's a good opportunity to kind of even out the rivalry a little bit here. I look at Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes as like this generation's Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning. I'm not saying that these two quarterbacks are those two guys, but Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, if you wanted to say they were 1 and 2 in some order in terms of the quarterbacks in the NFL, that's a fair argument to have. They're both within the top 5 without a doubt. And I mean, if you want to argue whether they're 1 and 2 or not, or if one of them belongs somewhere lower in that top 5 or not, have a field day and go at it. But two of the best quarterbacks in the league, and they have been putting together some pretty awesome games when they faced off. I love the rivalry. I love that we're getting a rematch here. The NFL did an excellent job putting together some really good games and some really good rematch opportunities. This one's no exception. Then going into week number 8, Packers at Bills. This is a kind of like another Super Bowl kind of dream matchup here. You have Aaron Rodgers, the 2-time MVP, going up against Josh Allen. He's a couple weeks removed from that game against the Chiefs. At this point here, we'll see how is the Packers unit offensively faring. Has the defense gotten any better? They went very defensive heavy in the draft. This will be an interesting one here. Do I think it's going to be a super high scoring affair? Maybe not. You're looking at two teams that have some really good defenses. If there is one thing I will say, it feels like things have kind of swayed a little bit in Green Bay. You've gone from like the offensive heavy unit to now the defense seems to be outweighing the offense a little bit. And the Bills, obviously, they have an explosive unit there on offense, but their defense, the way they've kind of stacked it up, this game might be a little bit more defensive than some people realize. And I'm kind of excited to see how it shakes out. And I'm looking forward to seeing how these teams kind of like how they kind of take shape as we get closer to this one here and what the storyline's going to be going into it. Then in week number 9, you're looking at the Rams and the Bucs, NFC Championship rematch. Rams at Buccaneers should be an awesome one. I mean, we saw how great that championship game was this past postseason, and I'm so excited to see it go again. Matthew Stafford's my guy. Love rooting for him. I respect the hell out of what Tom Brady has done with his 7 Super Bowl rings and, winning Super Bowls with multiple teams and whatnot. This will be, without a doubt, another great game. I do have to say, though, the Rams have had the Buccaneers number. That's going to be a little bit of an issue for Tom Brady if he comes down with another loss to the Rams here. I think that he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, and that should be something to help carry him through this one here and maybe squeak out a tight victory, but we'll have to see. Going into week number 10, we have the Cowboys at Packers. This is Mike McCarthy's return to Green Bay. This will be a fun one. I'm sure that the media will be running all over the place with this storyline. I mean, you have the Cowboys who, again, they get all the media spotlight for being the largest, fan base and whatnot, biggest marketed team in the NFL, whatever you want to say about them. McCarthy coming back to Green Bay will be an awesome showdown to see. Obviously, McCarthy going up against his old quarterback and team. I mean, the storyline literally writes itself. It'll be interesting to see how that game shakes out. 2 NFC favorites, I'm sure, for the playoffs. Then we have ourselves Rams at Chiefs week 12. If you guys remember a handful of years ago, Jared Goff versus Patrick Mahomes in that all-star lineup on, I believe it was Monday Night Football. It was either Monday or Sunday night. Don't remember which one. But it was a crazy matchup. The game ended up with both teams scoring 50-plus points. Obviously, 2 different teams at this point, but I mean, that Rams offense, that Chiefs offense, both defenses, I will say that I do take the Rams defense a little bit more than I like the Chiefs, but this will be a fun one as well here. This is another one of those Super Bowl potential matchups. There's a handful of these this year, and I'm really excited about it because this is like Super Bowl preview after Super Bowl preview, and that Rams-Chiefs game, without a doubt, fits that billing. If I was to pick right now, I do like the Rams, though. I just think they're a little bit more of a complete team right now. Having lost Tyreek Hill, it'll be interesting to see how the Chiefs manage that. And right now, if I was to kind of just like pick my way too early prediction, I like the Rams for that game in Week 12. Chiefs at Bengals for Week 13, you get yourselves the AFC Championship rematch. The Bengals were able to knock down the Chiefs twice, once at home and then once in Kansas City. And now they're back in the jungle when the Chiefs come to visit them in week number 13. Burrow, Mahomes, we're going to see that offensive line, and if it's been gelling or not. Is Burrow getting sacked another 70 times this season? I would hope to God not. And the Chiefs, can they put their offensive woes that they dealt with early last year behind them and just get back to being a more offensive juggernaut that we are used to seeing from them? But this, of course, will be another great matchup that has a lot of playoff implications allied. I'm sure number one seeding could potentially be on the line for this game as well, should the Bengals and Chiefs be having a really good season up to this point. A lot to look forward to there. Then we got ourselves Bengals at Buccaneers, Week 15. You got Brady versus Burrow. You have the AFC representative for the Super Bowl last year and the Super Bowl champions of the year prior. You have the old age versus the new age. I mean, this is another one of those storylines that kind of writes themselves, and I'm very curious to see how this one will shake out here. Just because you have a Buccaneers defense that is really good, a Bengals offense that should be better than last year considering they've brought back just about everyone and improved the O-line. This one has all the makings for another one of those really fun games here, and I think it's going to be a really good test facing off against Brady for Joe Burrow. Definitely an interesting one that I'm really looking forward to seeing. These late season games are all really, really good, especially like with the teams that are playing each other and where it's like placed out. I love it. Then in Week 15 as well. And this one for me, I love this one because I've been a Matthew Stafford fan for a long time. If you followed my podcast, you would know that. But Monday Night Football, Rams head to Green Bay to take on the Packers. Matthew Stafford, a former division rival of Aaron Rodgers. These two QBs know each other very well. Matthew Stafford left the NFC North, went to the NFC West, and proceeded to win himself a Super Bowl. And I'm sure Aaron Rodgers saw that. I'm sure he did. You got Stafford versus Rodgers in a former NFC North divisional kind of rematch tour thing here. I'm excited to see how this one plays out because it feels like, when you look at that entire tenure that he had on the Lions, constantly struggling, getting completely bullied at times against the Green Bay Packers, Stafford finally has a very competent team to go up against him. This is a fun one here. Stafford versus Rodgers, former NFC North rivals, and we finally get to see Stafford take on Aaron Rodgers with a very competent unit behind him, and I'm definitely looking forward to that one. In week number 17, Monday Night Football, we're getting Bills at Bengals. What could have been for the AFC Championship last year had the Bills not lost that coin flip and then ultimately allowing a touchdown on the opening drive of overtime to the Kansas City Chiefs. They were, 11 seconds away from being able to meet those Bengals in the AFC Championship. So this is my AFC Championship, what could have been matchup. Really looking forward to seeing that one because I was a little sad that we didn't get to see it. And I mean, trust me, I have nothing bad to say about the championship match between the Bengals and Chiefs, but I was pulling for the Bills in that game. So with that in mind, Bengals and Bills in Cincinnati, that's going to be a fun one, especially in Week 17. That's another one that has AFC playoff seeding potential on the line. And then for my final matchup that I'm really looking forward to, in Week number 18, the Baltimore Ravens going to Cincinnati in the jungle in a potential division-winning game type of matchup. If all goes well for the Ravens and they don't get completely demolished by injuries like they did last season, this is another one of those games that I'm really looking forward to seeing. I hope that at this point in time, the Ravens and Bengals are in a neck-and-neck race for that AFC North because while I'm somewhat looking forward to seeing what the Browns can do with Deshaun Watson at the quarterback position, I don't think this is going to be their year. If it's going to be a year, it might be next year. It all depends on if Deshaun Watson ends up serving a suspension this year, or I've even seen rumors about it maybe being even the following year, depending on how long this legal process continues to drag out. But Ravens at Bengals, Week 18, divisions on the line. Very much looking forward to that one. But that is my list of best matchups for the 2022 NFL season. I appreciate you guys for watching. Let me know what your favorite games and matchups are going to be, and I will catch you guys next time. Have a good one.